Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. How are you doing? Hello. Saliu, how are you doing? Good evening. How are you doing? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, I would love you to drop it in the chat. How are you doing? How are you doing? And where are you connecting from? And you know that this is our section and it's meant to be interactive. It means that you are expected to be saying something. So I'd love to hear from you. Hello, how are you doing? Good evening, Jenny. Good evening, Saliu. I am fine. I am fine. I am fine. How is your day going? How is your day going? How is your day going? And is it raining there? Also, where are you connecting from? Are you connecting from Lagos, Nigeria, or from Abuja, Nigeria, or from Tanzania? Where are you connecting from? Okay, Johannesburg, great. Nice to have you here. Priscilla, good evening. Saliu, Nigeria. What part of Nigeria? And is it raining there? Is it raining there? Good evening, Collins. Good evening. How are you doing? I'm so glad to see each and every one of us joined in on time. Ethiopia, great. Kwara State, good. And is it raining in Kwara at the moment? And yeah, Jenny, and I missed you too. How are you doing? How are you? Good evening, Nasir. Connecting from Abuja, great. Oluwadara Simi, how are you? And where are you connecting from? And how is the weather over there? Is it raining or in between? Or I'm glad to have it the way it is. How is it looking like there? Good evening, Julie. Good evening, Olutoyin. How are you? Musa, how are you? You're connecting from Abuja. Great. Which part of Abuja? Is it raining there? Or is the weather looking like it wants to rain? Collins, you're connecting from Benue. Nice to have you here. Good evening. Julie, great. I'm happy to know that you are very, very fine. Now, quick question. Are you in the data world or you're about entering the data world? Olutoyin, I'm very, very fine. Are you in the data world or you're about entering the data world? Are you, yes, I'm in the data world. I'm about entering the data world. What's your status? Are you in the data world or you're about entering the data world? Let's know the people we have here. Are you in the data world or you are about entering the data world? Okay, about entering the data world. Great. Okay, you are in the data world. Jenny! Julie, you're in the data world. Okay, great. That's nice. So that means we have more people in the data world. Okay, about entering the data world, Collins. Great. So now it means it's a 50-50. About entering the data world, Musa, okay, it means the people about to enter the data world are a bit more than the people in the data world. And that's one of the things we're going to be looking at, the career paths of the data analyst and how you, if you are already in the data world, how you can start earning with the things you already know with the skills you have in the data world. So I'm going to get started and with our screen, I believe we can see the screen. We're going to be looking at the different job roles and how you can land a data analyst role. So pick one, go and get your paper and pen. If you don't have your paper and pen, you're going to be missing out on a whole lot of things that we're going to be discussing today. So quickly go and get your paper and pen. Or if you are not able to get the paper and pen, probably you are not in the place that you can get it. Do well to use your phone notes, but you are going to be writing. So therefore, run now, go and get your paper and pen. And then if you're with your paper and pen, please drop it in the chat. Yes, I am with my paper and pen. Because you know that as we are here, that we are trying to enter the data world, or you are in the data world and you are looking at how to earn from it, you need to be noting down those things as it's coming. So quickly go and get your pen and paper. And if you have gotten your pen and paper, do well to drop it in the chat that yes, I am with my paper and pen. Okay, thank you, Julie. Yes, I love the fire. One more person, get your paper and pen ready to write. Go and get your paper and pen ready tonight, and also ready to ask your questions. Okay, get your paper and pen ready to write and ready to note down your questions as they come up. Thank you, Juliet. Great, you are ready. And for the analytics school is that school that has equipped the global community of problem solvers. And we have our slogan, data analyst, a millennial and a problem solver. And we have trained over 5,000 students and counting. That's why there is a plus in front of it, because yes, it's counting. And we prepare students for courses such as prepare students for the real world scenario, and we offer courses such as data analysis, financial analysis, business analysis, AI for the workplace, amongst others. And we operate across board, not just in Nigeria, but we have students from Ghana, Uganda, UK, Russia, and the rest of them. And for our graduates, most of them are corporate leaders or in the corporate world, and some of them are in the path of being consultants, and then for some of them are entrepreneurs who are strategically implementing what they have learned, that's with their data skills, to scale their respective businesses and in the organizations that they found themselves in, making their marks there. And they are also social change makers doing great and amazing things with the data knowledge in the data world. And we're glad to have you here with us. And drum rolls as we get into the section. We are introducing our speaker. Our speaker is Mr. Gideon Ifeanyi. He's a data analyst, a research professional, and a finance educator with a strong background in data analysis, business intelligence, and economic research. He has worked across sectors, including research, consulting, finance, business operations, with hands-on experience in tools such as Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, R, and SPSS. Over the years, he has led and supported projects involving data-driven decision-making, feasibility studies, performance analysis, dashboard development, and operational reporting. Do you see why I said you should get your paper and pen? Do you see why I said you should get your paper and pen? So if you have not gotten your paper and pen yet, quickly rush and get your paper and pen. Thank you, Oluwa, Owolabi, and Jenny. If you are yet to get your paper and pen, please do well to get it. And beyond technical skills, Gideon is also passionate about teaching and mentoring, and has helped many learners understand the practical paths into data analysis, the skills required for different data roles, and how to position themselves for opportunities in the market. His section will provide practical insight into the different job roles within the data world, what roles requires, what data roles you need to get into, and how aspiring professionals like yourself can strategically position themselves and prepare to land a data job. Let's welcome our speaker, and welcome, Mr. Gideon.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here. Good evening, everyone. Good
Good
evening, everyone.
evening.
Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So, uh, I have a question. Dear host, do I just continue? I thought it was going to be a conversation kind of thing. I didn't get the memo.
Dear speaker, as the spirit leads.
Okay. Once again, welcome everyone. I believe that we are in the room with a lot of people who are familiar with data in their different um, biospheres or their different formats. So I also believe that a lot of us are either current students from the analytics school or alumni from the analytics school. Regardless, or you just want to know how to break into the data space, you want to learn, regardless of your background, your disposition, you are very welcome. The thing is, we are all aware about data, so most of the technologies I'll be using, right, will be something that you have known and you are familiar with. And if there is a technology I'm using that you don't understand, or if I'm going too fast, I tend to go too fast a lot. If I go too fast, I'm looking in the chat box so that I can, repeat something. But unfortunately, I didn't prepare any slide. That is why I like that our dear host, our neighbor host, actually to come with your pen and your paper because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. Briefly, I would like to run through some of the things that we're going to encounter. I have about 6 to 8 points that I want to talk about. Number one, we'll do a brief introduction into the data field. We'll talk about why data rules matter. Then we'll talk about different jobs role in the data sphere. We'll talk about what a data analyst does specifically. We'll then talk about the skills needed to become a data analyst. We'll talk about the common mistakes aspiring analysts make, and then talk about building a portfolio, how to gain visibility. Then we'll talk about how to position yourself and how to apply. Now, some of these I'm going to speak through them because, like I said, everybody's familiar with data, so it might just be I'm just doing it to give us a jumping pad that we could go from. So let's without further ado, let's just go into it. So talk about data. So what is data, or what is the data field? Yet, and we have moved from the space where we hear data and we think about coding, mathematics, and dashboard. We have moved into the space where we see data as lifeblood. It's not just abstract. Data is handleable. We all know that. So when you talk about the data field, you are essentially entering where what all companies rely on to make accurate business decisions. It's very important. You would see a company spending sometimes $60,000 a year in salaries, and to some high degree, you can find a company spending $200,000 a year. That's foreign companies to hire the best talent or to develop the best team for data analysis. Or in Nigerian companies, you can see some companies spending between um, 3 million naira per year to as much as 30 billion naira per year in annual salary to develop their data team or to build a data team that is robust. It's very important. That is how important data is in our day and age. So when we talk about data fields, we're talking about systems or organizations or areas where data is critical. And it is easier for you, or rather, it will be harder for you to think about a field or a business or an industry that doesn't rely on data. Funny enough, even the garbage man that picks up garbage along the roads, he has to rely on some form of data. He has to know where the garbage are dropped because he has come, he has observed, he knows that these streets they normally put their garbage bin here, that street put their garbage bin on the other side. So he's relying on data, of the power of observation, he's recording data points in his brain to know where exactly to go to be able to get the garbage or to pack up the garbage. As minute as that is, you find out that it relies on data. Have we always been aware that everything we want to do relies on data? We have, but we had not yet developed it. It is in this 20th century that it was like a bombshell and it scattered and it went everywhere and everyone is like data this, data that, data this, data that. Now, so that's how very, very important data is in today's world. When you talk about data fields also, there is no one particular way of getting data, or there's no one particular type of data. When I mean type of data, I don't mean when you talk about your quantitative, your video, your picture. Now, I'm talking about in different fields. For example, um, the restaurant relies on data in terms of recipe, how much maggi should go into this food, how much rice to go into this food, and whatnot. The hospital relies on data in terms of maybe living organisms or quantitative analysis in the blood. What is the level? What's the PCV level? What's the level of malaria in the blood? Are the white blood cell? What is the count of the white blood cell? Let's do a lipid fat test. All those things is numbers. The amount or the lack of the presence or lack of an item, which is data, gives them the information that they are looking for. So the data itself is looked at differently when you move from one field to the other. And it might be critical in one field than the other. For example, if you miss the count for data in the health field, it is fatal. While if you miss the count for data in a restaurant or a hotelier industry, it might not be as fatal. You might just lose a few customers or you might just have to change the batch of food. Right. So we've talked about data field, we've talked about why data is important. We're not talking about different jobs, roles in data. Now, the data field is vast, and I'm sure you know. We have the data analyst, we have the data scientist, we have the data engineer, we have the data entry, we have the data auditor. Now, we are entering into a phenomenon where organizations are trying to define jobs by the responsibility. So you will come across a job posting and you will see it relationship officer. Previously, let's say 5 years ago, that same job, the title of the job would have been um, customer rep, but now it's now relationship officer. You find another job that says grants officer. Previously, that same job would have been something around advocacy officer, different. So now, when a company says they want a business analyst, they are trying to streamline it to what they actually need. Now, business analyst is an offshoot of the data sector or the data field. So they know that it's part of the data field, but they are being specific about what they want. That's why there are different types of job roles today in today's world. You have the business analyst, you have report analyst, you have risk analyst, you have finance analyst, you have engineer, like I've mentioned, scientists, you have different aspects of analysis, you have different types of descriptions, but all are stemming from the broadness of the data field. Now, it then comes down to what am I specialized in? One, where do I want to go to? So if I'm specialized in being a business analyst and I want to move into engineer, it's still the same data field, but I need to tweak my skill set a bit to be able to fit to that. So there are different jobs role in data analyst, and the more you are aware of this, and there are new ones coming. So what you likely have to do is to look through the job description, the role specification, and identify what you can do properly, and then restructure your CV to that manner. I'm already going to CV setting up and everything. So there are different job roles in data. You also see some that says Power BI analyst, product analyst, operational analyst, everything notable is from the data field. That's how large, that's how vast it is. Even in the hospital, they will tell you they need systems operations or systems operations analyst. You get. They are also looking at an offset of data analysts, but then they'll tell you need to be conversant with the medical terminologies of things like this. You understand what I'm saying? Or they say maybe they call it lab technician or lab assistant, something along that nature, is still an offshoot of data analyst, but more inclined to the health sector. I don't want to go into describing a lot of all these roles, but one thing you should know is there are three main or four main different aspects. There is the machine learning aspect of it, there's the data science aspect of it, there's the data engineer aspect of it, there's the data analyst aspect of it, and then there is the data entry aspect of it. I think I mentioned five. I'm going to go again. There's the machine learning aspect of it, there's data science aspect of it, there's the data engineer aspect of it, there is the data analyst aspect of it, and there is the data entry aspect of it. Now, whichever job role, whatever the job role name is, whatever they call it, once you go to the responsibility for that role, you can know which aspect they fall in. Now, for machine learning is basically trying to develop models, to make models stand on their own and solve problems on their own. Econometric models, even AI models. Basically, as the term define, you are taking in a lot of data. You are trying to model a particular process or particular system that it should study that data and then be able to solve problems, similar problems like the one you are modeling it on. So that's basically machine learning, machine modeling. So that's one aspect of it. Then data science is we are taking this data, we are trying to forecast, having studied the past data, we are trying to forecast what the future will look like. So that's the data science part of it. Now, the data engineer part of it is okay, I need to make data available and on time. So, the data engineer is trying to bring data from the raw form, clean it, and make it available for anybody that wants to use. So he has to build pipelines, he has to connect to raw source, has to build scripts and all that. So he's the one that goes to raw form, he fetches data, he cleans it, and he presents it, he makes it available to anybody that wants to take use of it. So the machine learning engineer will come and get data from the data engineer. The data scientist will come and get data from the data engineer because he has made it available. Then the data analyst then takes also data from the data engineer and it begins to model it or look for certain metric inside this data. That's when he begins to look for what is the profit, what is the year-on-year profit, are we making loss, are we making profit? He's the one that is beginning to analyze this data to now find insights that he's going to say, okay, over the last quarter, this particular product line has decreased or anything. So that's the data analyst. Then the data entry. Data entry works hand in hand with the data engineer and sometimes the data analyst because data entry is the one that tries to impute this data into the sources where the data engineer can fetch from, right? Can fetch from and then make use of. So these are the various sections in the field. Any type of job is talking about one of these sections. Sometimes they might merge two together, but you can when you look at it, you can tell what is this job, what does this job need me to do, basically. Sorry. Now we're moving on to the next point. We've talked about what fields are there. We've talked about what the data analyst does, right? Talked about what other field do. I wanted to go deep into, but I'm looking at my time. It's almost up. So we're going to move on to the next point. The next point says, what skills do I need to become a data analyst? Most of us that have passed through the analytics school, because I've also seen the course, I also made input in this course. You have already have necessary skills you need. But let's leave those skills first. Those are hard skills. Let's talk about soft skills. I'm going to talk from my own personal experience. A lot of time, my manager calls me because I double as the current CEO of my company, CEO rather. The CEO calls me and he describes the problem to me and he tells me he wants to solve this problem. So he says something like, I want to make sure that every item that left the store gets to the kitchen. Now, he has described the problem. He did not say build dashboard. He did not say create table. He did not say find the net profit. He did not say find missing items. No, he simply said, I want to make sure that every item that left the store got to the kitchen. Now, the ability for me to interpret that, one, to now begin to visualize it, two, and begin to know the steps I need to take, the data point I need to pull to be able to solve that problem he has described are called soft skills. Do I understand what he is saying? Do I is there systems that I can put in place to solve what he is saying? What are the preliminaries? What do I need to do? Basically, those soft skills to understand the problem that's being thrown at you. A lot of times when you get into the work positions, these are how the questions are. Sorry, give me a minute. I just want to make sure. Okay, we right. I'm just trying to look through our chats. Yeah. Okay, health analyst, yes, that's part of it. We should explain more on the data analyst part, sure, if we have a bit enough time. And okay, I think those are the two comments. So let's get back to it. One of the times where I was working at the office, and the nature of the position is that we solve one problem and another comes up. So if we say, okay, we want to know whether we are consistent with the way we cook, we find out that we are not consistent with the way we cook. So how do we now make sure that we are consistent with the way we cook? And it's a kind of environment, your job as a data anything it is, whether engineer, analyst, entry, whatever it is, your job relies on processes. So it's a kind of job where once you solve one problem with the process, you need to improvise, right? You need to improvise and make sure that you can solve the resulting problem. Yes, because there's a resulting problem. Once you solve that, oh, we are our cooking is consistent or our cooking is not consistent. The next problem is how do we make our cooking consistent? The first one is our cooking consistent? Yes. If the answer is no, or which most times to be, the next process will be how do we make our cooking consistent? And these are going to rely on the processes you put in place from the data you are getting. The data will inform you. So your ability to be able to recognize one, to translate problems into solvable solutions, into processes is key. Your ability to now envision the next problem that would arise from the solution you created is also key. Those are the things that will keep you in the role you are. Sometimes data analysis or being in the data field is not about crunching numbers. Sometimes I think our host will tell you it's about figuring out how people will respond to the instructions you are giving to them and then how to now account for those responses. For example, you might want to go and collect data and you are envisaging that people are not going to be so forthcoming with giving you the data you want. Then you have to now envisage how do you make them give you data even before you set your feet in the field. Or sometimes you're working with a recommended project that is more like implementation, and you told them, oh, we need to spend only this amount on building this particular project or building this particular infrastructure, then you have to anticipate that they would try to maybe siphon some of those funds for themselves. Then, because you've anticipated that, you then begin to put in checks and balances um, that would ensure that you capture those things or mitigate those things or reduce the occurrence of those diversions that you've anticipated. Now, you'll find out that what I just described now are not necessarily hard numbers. They are more like experience based, forecasting based, if you want to use a data term, forecasting based, but that has got nothing to do with numbers. It's just an experience kind of pipeline, envisioning the problems that would arise from the processes or from the solutions you have given. It's very important. So, but then when you talk about those are soft skills, when you talk about hard skills, one of the undoubtable hard skills is cleaning data. I know everybody will agree with me that 80% of your data job, regardless of where you are on the chain, except maybe you are working with a very good data engineer. But if you are working alone, as is most cases with most company, or you're working with a team without a strong data engineer, you agree with me that your 80% of the time you spend your time. If you have 1 hour for a job, you spend about 50 minutes cleaning data before you do any analysis of any sort. You spend a lot of your time cleaning data. And the tricky thing is, if you don't clean it well, right, the results you get will be spurious. You can go to make a presentation and you actually be seeing your errors from the data that is not clean, and then you can't defend it. So that is why one of the skill sets that you have to have at least 90% accuracy, 90% mastery is in how to clean data. One. Two, next is to know how to sort. We talk about sorting, filtering and sorting. The advanced name is joining. The advanced name is SQL queries and joins and everything. That's the advanced name. So filtering and sorting is same thing as joining. You have to know how to make use of your joins. Why? I can assure you that most of your tasks will require you to, from table A, which is customer table, can you cross-check all the sales that were made in geographic A, which is another different geographical table. So you want to make sure that your filtering, sorting, and joining skill are above average. Are you with me? So I want to see yours in the chat box if you are with me, so that I know I'm not just yapping on and on and on. Do we still have people in the house? I want to see our responses. All right, that's great.
Yes, we are here.
All right. Mr. Kakabulos, I'm sorry, but if you are trying to get into the data field, you need to have a holistic view of it. We cannot be strictly on data analysis. It presents a myopic view of the whole field. So if you don't understand any of from because what are you analyzing without understanding how you got the data? What are you analyzing? Inside your analysis, you are doing a prediction work. I'm trying to make you understand that your job market has moved from mere analysis. It's not only come and give us analysis. No, they're asking you to solve problems. And the problems are solved by processes and they are coming up one after the other from the same analysis you made. The analysis you make would have a problem inside of it. And if you don't understand where this problem sits, is it a data entry problem? Is it a data engineering problem? Is it a forecasting problem? Is it a process problem? Is it the way human error, the way humans will react to your solution? What kind of problem are you trying to solve? So if you come to a job interview and they're asking you, when they ask you to walk through your experiences, they're not basically telling you, oh, tell us how many sets of data you've analyzed, or tell us how well you can build pivot. They're asking you, how can you solve business problem? For example, a typical interview question will go like this. So, how do we make sure that we are retaining customers? And you are wondering, am I a customer retention center? No, they are simply asking because that is their own problem. They don't really care about I mean, it's your experience and you see they got you into the door, but that's not really what is going to keep you or make sure that you get hired. Are you with me? So what they're asking you, how can we retain more of our customers? How can we ensure that our customers are returning customers? They're asking you, take this data, do whatever you want to do with it, and then give us a solution that we can implement. So when you give them a solution that they can implement, it's probably going to go to the customer agent or the marketing department or the sales department, and they're going to affect your suggestion. But for you to understand what kind of problem you are dealing with, you have to know what is the genesis of the problem. Do we have enough data that will tell us about the behavior of these customers? Do we have enough data that will tell us where the customers are falling off in our own processes? What is the time frame? What is the time duration? At what point in the whole customer journey are customer falling off? And then let us now look at that process, that particular process they are falling off. What is the key item there? All these things I have said, Gary, I have not called data analysis inside this process. So it is basically business solving problem that you are doing. It is within your own system. At 99% of the time, when you go onto the screen to present your work, when you go onto the screen to make a recommendations to the shareholders or the stakeholders, you are not telling them, okay, so I found out that inside this set of data, we have, this amount of things. Okay, so I then build a tree diagram. Oh, so I then built a map diagram. To them, what you are saying has no value to them. They want to hear, okay, we have 6,000 people sign up at this stage, and by this stage, we only have 4,000 people left. Where we had the most drop off of 1,500 people is at this particular point, and we notice that it is because maybe the click button is not working, or because the delivery took too much time, or because the value that they are the bundled services that you are giving them, it has too much value, or they cannot pay for all the value of the bundled services. Now you are talking about pain points. You're talking about how you can, how you've spotted the problem. Nobody is interested in. I went through 360,000 data points. I went through 10,000 rows of data. We found out that 306 people are buying. Koshishe, that's not what they're interested in. So I'm now looking at it from a business perspective. And once you're looking at it from a business perspective, there are different points that you have to talk about that are not specifically data analysis, which is why your problem may be that the engineer didn't do a very good work. The problem might be that your forecasting is wrong. The problem might be that, the AI chat box was set up to help people with converse is leading them astray. It's not getting them, it's not answering their questions, it's not getting them to where we want them to be. So these are the things that are not strictly data analysis, but you are the one that's going to, you are the insight manager, you are the data analyst, you are the one that's going to figure out where the problem is. So if you don't understand the processes, how would you figure out where the problem is? Again, I'm saying this because when you get into the interview panel, when you get into that for your first interview, hopefully you get it after now. And with what you're saying, there's a strong likelihood that you're going to get it after now. You know that they're asking you for problems. They're asking for how you can solve problems. When you get to technical level of interviews, are you with me? When you get to technical level of interviews, that's when you now see explicitly, can you bring out, that's what I talked about later previously, can you bring out all the customers in this geographical area that bought goods from this particular store? They now have to now talk about your joining skills, which was what I was going through. You talk about your joining skills. Can you filter? Can you sort? Can you write queries that can give us the exact? In fact, that is even a problem on its own. They're actually for a business problem. They are telling you that we are selling this thing across these different branches. We want to know this particular product. Where are they buying it from the most? So if you are selling product A to E, but most people are buying only product E from Ijesha branch, let us now convert the whole of Ijesha branch to be only selling product E. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what it now comes down to. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to sort like this, or oh, we have to type in this query, we have to type in that query, and we have to like source for this, use pivot to use lookup, all the things that the analytics school has taught you. That's when you now begin to use their full flow. But before you get to that point, or after you get to that point, that's what gets you in the door. Your valuability beyond that, to be able to see the full length of the pitch that you're playing with, you're working with, to make sure that the CEO is keeping you close or they're calling you back for another project is based on how you can see with a broad view. So we're talking about core technical skills. Number one is Excel, the filtering, the sorting, SQL, visualization tools, all these that basic statistics that analytics school has taught us. Now it comes to problem solving, critical thinking, communication, business understanding, attention to detail, and strong teaching points. You now let me explain another thing a bit. In today's business world, we're in a world where a lot of times AI is doing a lot of the analysis. I'm serious. You can just plug AI into a dashboard, into a data set, and it cleans, it analyzes, it brings out set. So the question is now, what can you do that AI cannot do for us? That's the question. All of your hard skills, all of your core skills, building dashboard, cleaning data, sorting data, pivot, query, writing codes, using Python, all of your strong points, AI can do it. And AI is how much? AI is about 30K per month. Any of the AI, their pro version, 30K per month. So the question is, why should we not hire you and pay you 500,000, and pay you 400,000, and pay you $1,200, and pay you $500? What are we paying you for? So if you go there and you are talking about things that AI can do, you are missing the point. You are removing yourself from the interview. Are you with me? Let me see some comments in the chat box. Are we together? Are we together? Are we
Yes,
still
we
together?
are. Yes, we are. Together.
I want to see some comments in the chat box. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So maybe you have questions up. I'm still going forward, but maybe you have questions up to this point. Please, I want to them in the chat box as we continue. So basically, when you enter into the job market, we are proving to them without a shadow of doubt that I know this thing. But beyond me knowing this thing, I know your business. I can solve the problems that your businesses have using data. AI can't do that. AI can only help you analyze, clean, and everything. And you have to do prompting and everything. But I can realize the human error, the human behavior, you all those things. I can recognize it. I can see a pattern even before the data gets into spreadsheets or Excel. I can pinpoint those patterns and then I can help you solve it. I understand your business so much. I can bring out great value in your business. Remember, these things, we're talking about job interview, the job market, how it is now. So these things have moved away from your core skills, which analytics jobs have done a very good thing, to how you can translate your core. I was presented with over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be having interviews. But during my interview sessions I've had in the past, you find out that some of the questions we are asking, we are not basically trying to just test your technical skills. Your CV again, I'm saying this for the opt-in time. Your CV already shows that you have the necessary training. What you are testing is how you can handle or you can bring out this training out of your head and show us, and we carry it along. That's called the communication part of the things, the experience, the storytelling. How can you carry us along? Do you understand what we are trying to do? Do you understand the problem I'm trying to solve? If can you anticipate problems that are yet to come, or can you see problems making they happen? And can you solve those problems? So we are looking at the candidates and we're telling them to tell us a bit about themselves. In a session where you should not spend more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a bit much self. You should look to spend just maybe 3 minutes just talking about yourself, your background, your education, the the qualifications you have, and those things. Then they ask you, walk us through your experience. Walk us through your experience as a data analyst. Or we see you've worked with so and so person or so and so company. Can you tell us what you did for them? Listen carefully. They are not telling you how to tell us how to analyze data. They are telling you when you worked for this company, what were the problems that you solved for this company? Give us data backed evidence that you solved this problem. For example, when I worked with the Alif Recycling, the problem I solved was our suppliers were not coming back because we are not collecting all of their goods. We say their goods because we deal in recycled materials. We say the recycled material has too much dirt in it, so we won't collect it or we shall change it. So they were not coming back to us. They were going back. They were going to our competitors. Was that a problem? Yes, because we are losing revenue. But at first glance, it's not a data problem. You would think rather that it's not a data problem. Say, the sales guy should figure out it. The marketing guy, it's not my area. It's policy. Policy should bring out a good policy. But that kind of appetite is not going to keep you in the job. So what did we do? We looked at, okay, let us calculate our current margin. How much will our margin fall if we increase the percentage of dust that we are collecting from our suppliers? So we looked at it, we said it's not even much. In fact, if you can collect more with more dust, we actually stand to increase our profits margin. Now it is me that now look at the situation, the problem, and begin to translate it back into data terms. So we divide because we understood that our margin is not going to be affected, it's going to increase. In fact, we now say, okay, we are going to be accepting up to 20% debt from you. So he increased the number of people that are coming to us because the other company was accepting 10. Maybe they analyzed data or just did off the way, but they were collecting 10. You know what I'm saying? So now, I'm not okay. Now, when I'm not telling the interview, I'm saying what we did was that we identified this was the problem. So what did we do? We tried to estimate our profit margin if we collected more percentage of dust, and we found out that we are going to improve our profit margin. Now I've taken a problem that has nothing to do with data. I've tied it down to how I translated it to be a data problem. I've now given the solution. Now I say we now recommended an increase in 20% dust collection. And then because of that, we saw that we increased our suppliers retention by 50%, meaning if 100 people normally go and don't come back, we then reduce it to only 50 people that will go and not come back. And thereby we are raising our supply, thereby we are raising our revenue generation by so and so percent, by about 3 million naira per trade. Now, you will see that that is the whole process. They're asking you, what is the problem that you solved? There is a technique for this, a kind of smart is it spear techniques or something where you have to define the problem, define your responsibility, define your task, define the outcome. I have forgotten the acronym for it, but that's how it goes. Sorry, I'm going to round up soon. When I talk about data and how we can get to where we want to go, I get so carried away. Um, if our host, amiable host, if
Yes.
do you remember
Honorable.
that we did together? that when we entered the process, they were not asking us about data. They actually asked us to draw the diagram of to present an organogram for a government MDA. You remember that particular project? Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of the project, you understand that the project was a skill gap analysis. It had everything to do with data, but the assessment itself had nothing to do with data. So they were trying to see, are we imaginative enough? Can we solve a problem? Can we solve their own problem? You understand what I'm saying? So that is the whole angle that interviews and analysis are taking on nowadays. However, if when we are looking at your portfolio and when we are looking at your, again, before we decide that we want to even invite you for an interview, again, we have to make sure that you can do what we're asking of you. And we look at your portfolio and you are missing some things. You are missing in your experience is not showing us metrics. Your portfolios is not showing us number. Like, can we understand your dashboard? The dashboard you have your portfolio in GitHub. Can we understand it without you being there? Do you have to, or even if you cannot understand it without you being there, do you have a video explaining that dashboard to us in a way that makes sense? Can you carry us along, basically? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, basically, when we look at portfolios, when we look at CVs, we're trying to make sense. We're trying to find out the core skills. And when we're looking at your portfolio, we're trying to make sense of your portfolio. If your portfolio doesn't make sense to us, if your portfolio is not rhyming with us, we will probably not invite you for an interview. So we have to make sure that the portfolio you are sending us makes sense without you. Or if it does, if you don't, if we have to, if you have to be there to make sense of it, then you send us a video explaining that particular portfolio. But most of us don't have patience to watch that video. So you have to make sure that your portfolio is making sense without you. Now, another thing that we hate to see is, like I've mentioned, another thing that we hate to see when we're trying to hire somebody or when during the hiring process is that only you can use Tableau, you can use Power BI, you can use Sandbox, you can use Python, you are everywhere. But which of them do you have a strong base in? What is your specification? That's what you're asking. What are you specialized in? In this modern day and age, especially when you are job hunting, you have to have tunnel vision, meaning you have to have a level of specification that, for example, myself, I'm specialized in data and business analysis. That means that I'm focusing on startups. I'm focusing on startups. I try to, when I come into a startup, I build their data centers, their data departments, and then 3 years, 4 years, I leave. That's what my aim is. When I come into a startup, I focus on building their data, make sure that all the processes are right, so that the next person coming into my position can, sustain it. You know, does that mean that I will not have any other skills? Like the what do you call it now? Does that mean I don't have any other skills like data engineering skills, like data scientist skills? No, it just means that my main forte is data analysis and business analysis. When push comes to shove, for example, in my current role, or most of my roles rely on building processes, which is like the data engineering part of it, to make sure that to make sure that they have culture that is getting data and supplying it to anybody that wants to use it. That's what my current something is. So you will find out that that is a data engineering package. But the data analysis side of it is to make sure that that data we're getting, we can interpret it and use it to make sure that we use to make valuable business decision. And we can say, okay, oh, our learning branch is not profiting. Let us add shawarma to the food. Or our rice is not doing well. Let us scrape it. Let us do new sets of rice, basically. So that's that. My juice I've just poured. Host, you owed me a new kind of a Martina. My Martina I've just poured. Anyway, so you'd have to be specialized in something. Does that mean that it's not advisable to switch? For example, if you see that data analysis is not paying well, or you are chasing bigger bag and you want to do machine learning, does that mean you should not switch? No. Like for example, I told our host some time ago, I'm trying to switch to full blown financial and investment analyst. It's important to ease your way into situations where you want to change, right? When you want to change, when you want to alternate career paths. You start from the entry positions or you start from volunteership, you start from internship. Internship are also very dicey to get nowadays, but one of the secrets, one of the strategy you use is cold calling. Cold calling. I didn't say cold email. Many people don't read their emails nowadays. In fact, they just delete it. They just open it and then they never respond back. That's why I have to go to the next step. Find their number. Find their business number. Write them. I remember one of the something I was chasing one time. I got the number. I even got the number of the husband to the woman that was hiring. Chatted them up. Make a cold call. And when you are doing your cold call, you have to be direct. Hello, my name is Gideon. I'm calling you on behalf of the role that you posted. Or if it's an internship, hello, I'm really fascinated with the things you are doing, but I see that I can be of help in terms of data. And then they are listening because your solution is trying to help their own work, their own company, is their own work. So they are interested in anything that will make their life easier. So you have to come from that aspect. I've seen this particular gap, I would like to be of help. I'm proposing we have an internship of social duration. Then you have brought them to the negotiation table. You can now decide what kind of internship you want, or they can now tell you what kind of internship they can afford or they are willing to give. Lot of times people just apply several applications in a day. 9,000, I was doing that too as well. Several applications in a day, 9,000 applications in a day, and you're applying everywhere. You have no specification, your CV is not strong on one particular something, you are not following up with calls, you are not showing them how you can solve their problem. You are more interested in them bringing you on board. Those are two different things you need to understand. They are more interested in solving their problem, except it's the HR that just want to fill a position. But even the HR that wants to fill a position shall be given a specific criteria. We want the person that does the in our company, we wanted to hire a store manager. We said we want the person that is quick on his feet in mathematics. You will not see that one inside CV. Have you opened any CV and said, "Oh, I'm quick on my feet in mathematics"? It's not there. It is through the conversation you have during interview, or you see your experiences that you are good in some core skills, or you have had experiences with large numbers, and then your CV is showing that particular specification, and then you are invited to an interview. So those are the kind of nuances where we kind of get it wrong because we are trying to bombard everywhere. We don't have specification. We are not willing to follow up. Again, we are asking you in this age of AI, what can you do for us that AI cannot do for us? Why should we employ you? So you have to have your own, again, you have to come from the place where you know that you can help their business or solve their business problem. And most times, if you go back and look at your CV right now, or look at your portfolio right now, and you ask yourself, which problem is this CV solving? Which problem is this portfolio solving? Most times you don't have an answer for the problem that your portfolio is solving. You don't have an answer for the problem your CV is solving. Am I saying that your portfolio is wrong? No, I'm probably saying your CV is wrong, but your portfolio might not be wrong. You just have to tweak it to focus on if you are doing cost analysis, if you are doing revenue analysis, if you are doing skills gap analysis, Make sure that you are communicating the problem that you are trying to solve with that particular portfolio. Again, you know that you can have more than one portfolio for different particular job, but you have to be specified, you have to be specific, you have to be specialized in your in your job search. Let me quickly round up. I think I'm running out of saliva now that my drink has finished. I'm new in this content creating journey. One of the things I learned that I see that we can apply it to searching for job, whether as beginners or veterans, is we should not wait until things are perfect. You are seeing a position, you know that you can do that position, but because the position says senior and they say 5 to 10 years or 5 to 7 years, and you have just about 3 years, you are shrinking away. You are not even trying to apply. You should. But because you have, but then when you apply, you have to make up for the experience you don't have. Because people with 7 years experience are applying, people with 10 years experience are applying, people with 5 years experience are applying. So what are you going to do that is going to set you apart? Cold calling, follow up, search for their LinkedIn. They have their LinkedIn. Email them. You find you if you look hard enough. You find out, I'm telling you this, even now it works. If you look hard enough, you find out an information, personal information about those people that you can use to contact them. It's just like if I can touch the hem of his garment, you understand? A lot of people were listening to Jesus that day, but only one person got healed in that particular conference. It's the person that reached out. She don't necessarily make the whole noise. She just got a personal contact of of Jesus Christ garment. So the same thing, you get a personal contact. It might be their email. And when you're sending emails, instead of sending emails that are generic, oh, my name is Kiniko, Kiniko, start with something that is catchy. I saw an email somebody sent recently. I said, your name is in the epistle file. And when I opened that email, of course, my name is not in the epistle file. I never make that kind of money yet. When I opened that email, he said, I know that you would not have opened this email if I don't have it. You have to be creative. It is really, really a very demanding something. So, two things, you being creative, you being specialized, and you following up are going to do the trick. We can spend time and talk about job boards. Oh, Indeed doesn't work. Oh, LinkedIn doesn't work. Oh, but people are getting jobs there. So what is the problem? You understand what I'm saying? It's because you are not communicating properly. The same thing if you get the job, you won't be able to communicate properly because you would probably not know what to say or not know how to grab attention or don't know how to communicate what is in your head to them. A lot of us, which is not bad, we are after trying to make money, trying to make ends meet. We have spent 1 million naira inside the analytics school. We have spent 500,000 inside the analytics school. We want to recoup the money. We want to get the next job. That's fine. That's good. But if that's your only driving force, you might stay a while longer in the job market. When you are now preoccupied with creating values and solving problems, even the problem they want to solve is in their job description. The problem they want to solve is in their job description. So when you apply, you follow up with a message that tells them that you tell them how you want to winning formula. Are you with me? Let me quickly round up. Now, how to build a portfolio and gain visibility. That's my last topic. Like I said, a portfolio should. If I open some of our portfolios now, not to shame anybody, but if I open some of our portfolios now, I would just see. In fact, there was a time I fought with my host. She sent me some portfolios to resume to review, and I was like, this has no, this one is lacking this one is lacking that, this one is lacking. So I'm saying this from a very strong point of view. If I open your portfolio now, you are doing everything. You are analyzing all the branches, you are analyzing profit centers, you are analyzing cost center. That's fine. Only if all your analysis can tie back to solving one problem. For example, you tell me the problem you want to solve. Your portfolio, if I look at your portfolio, there is no head or tail. There is no particular problem that your portfolio wants to solve. All your analysis are right, they are correct, they are fantastic, beautiful dashboard, mind blowing. But did you tie it together and say, this is the exact problem, and this is what our analysis shows, and this is how we are solving it? You are looking at, okay, we are looking at profitability. Of course, cost is a key part of profitability, but it did not carry us from how you move from our profit margin, how you move from our profit margin to how you're not telling us that we should reduce the cost of our beans from 400 naira per plate to 300 naira per plate. You didn't tell us how you got there. You didn't tell us why when you began to look at cost aspect of it. You should carry us along, build it on a step by step um solution. They don't want me, sha. My time don't finish. I've exceeded my time limit. Again, also your portfolio needs to be visible. I'm asking you to send me your portfolio, or the hiring manager is asking to send their portfolio, and you are sending a link that is not a website, that is not GitHub, that is not um, like, you understand what I'm saying? You are sending a scrappy something that is filled with ads, and they are struggling to make head of the link you sent them. That's how they say somebody you send CV, the person is sending link. Send your CV, you are saying the HR will not even send you because they don't have that time. They have a lot of something they're dealing with. In fact, some of them even employ AI, right, to help them do the scrutiny. Send your CV, you are sending link. Send document. What happened to document? Send your portfolio, you are sending one fishy. Do we know if you click it, something will enter our system? You're not sending us GitHub. You're not sending us a LinkedIn something. You're not sending us a very specialized website with HTTPS that we know is secure. You're sending us something off the chart and it's not scalable, it's not moving. Do you understand my own perspective? So that's another thing. Visibility. How is it? Can people see it? Can people make note of it? Can we call on you? Are we going to have problems, troubles opening it? You understand what I'm saying? So let's begin to ask our questions. We're taking our questions now. Please, I want to see all our questions. We're taking our questions now. Um, this particular session has come to an end, so we are taking our questions now. So what you can do, you just go back to your world of experience. What have you been doing? Try to analyze it. Most of us have been positioning to get jobs, not to solve problems, not to create value. Let's rethink it. Let's rethink entering into the job market. Yes, it is saturated, but that's why our specification comes in. That's how our cold calling comes in. That's how us following up intently with whatever is posted comes in. So I'm waiting for us to ask questions. Please let's ask questions so that we can round up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gideon.
Hope I was not being too harsh. I was just very, very passionate because I was also doing the same thing a couple of years back. You know, I had to meet someone and say, see what I'm trying to get, and see my CV. And let the person saw my CV, the person said, this is exactly why you don't have any. Your CV shows no problem solving. Your CV shows no specialization. Your CV doesn't have any metrics in it. Like, there's another thing I want to mention. Now, people are looking for keywords. Sometimes they call it buzzwords, but those sometimes it's AI that's looking at your CV. So you're looking at a job application or job posting, and the job posting is talking about optimization, pipeline processes, and your own CV. You don't have any of those words that the job processes is using. They will screen it and remove it. You don't have any metrics that correlates with in the job posting. So it's important to also tailor your CV. Not as important as solving a problem, but it's still important in its own way.
Thank you very much. And please let's drop our questions, or should we assume there are no questions? please ask your questions, or should we assume there are no questions to be asked? And it is not okay that there are no questions because this was a 45 to 1 hour section. You should have a question. Any question, John? If I do we have a question? Do you have a question? Any question? Okay, in the absence of no question, any question, any question, any question. Okay, in the absence of no question, thank you so very much, Mr. Gideon, for making out time out of your busy, very busy schedule to have this conversation with us. We deeply appreciate. Okay, there is a question for you. There's a question for you, Mr. Gideon. Ifunaya, how are you? Jenny,
Okay,
you don't have a question.
I can see the question.
Okay,
Says,
thank
is it
you.
advisable or professional to create 3 to 4 dashboard analyzing and solving problems for a project? Um, I would like you to come on board so that we can have a discussion about this because some of I don't quite understand the question because in my own experience, having different dashboards that solve different problems, right? Having different dashboards that solve different problems is perfectly fine, right? But having different dashboards that solve the same problem, like having 3 to 4 dashboards that solve the same problem, there might be a problem with there might be a problem with the process you're using to solve that problem. I'll give an example. Which I want you to come up so that we can talk about it so I can understand what exactly you mean. So now, remember I told you that they said, okay, we want to make sure that everything that leaves the store gets to the kitchen. Everything that leaves the store gets to the kitchen. So that is the problem we want to solve. But then to solve for that problem, I have to know what actually left the store, what actually got to the kitchen. To know what actually left the store, I have to make a consolidated list of everything that left the store. That might be one dashboard or one process. I have to now make a consolidated list of everything that arrived in the kitchen. That's another dashboard, or that's another process. Then I now have to join both of them using dates and item name. Join both of them using dates and item name. So in that essence, the only final result I'm going to present is the dashboard where I joined those other 2 processes using date and item name. So they can say, okay, Gary left the store, like 4 kg of Gary left the store, but only 3 kg made it to the kitchen. You understand? I'm not showing them the one that left the store only. I'm not showing them the one that entered the kitchen only. I'm just showing them the one that left the store and the one made it to the kitchen in terms of quantity. Do you understand? So in that case, they're only looking at one dashboard, not the 3, or only looking at one process, not the 3. I hope that answers your question. But then, in case of job search, you can build different dashboards that solve different problems. You can build different dashboards that solve different problems. Like the profitability problem I was talking about earlier. We're trying to know profitability, but we have to find out cost. And our analysis led us to dive more deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. You understand what I mean? So we now, in a case where we have those multiple dashboards and diving, this one is focusing on cost, this one is focusing on products, and focusing on profit. We now have to explain it very well, do the handover cleanly so that they can know our step by step building. I hope you understand me.
Thank you very much. There are other
Um,
questions as well.
yes, I'm looking at it. So, Ifunanya Vivian said, okay, before that, I have, what are the overview of these lessons? I don't understand this. What are the overview of these lessons data analysis? I don't understand that question, but let me move on. Maybe you can react it in another way. Um, how to make data analysis for every topic. How to make a data analysis for every topic. Again, I don't really understand that question. Please, can you ask it in another way? Or if you can have the mic, you can also ask it um, physically. Please explain different data roles. That is where you mentioned data science. Okay, right. So when we talk about data roles, we have different data fields basically, and we have different data roles. Now I said they are broadly classified into five. We have the machine learning, which you have to be very strong in coding to do. That's talking about building of AI agents, building of models, everything. We also have the data engineering aspect of it, which is where you make data available for other data users. Meaning you go to the source, you make sure you clean the data and make it available for other data users. Then we have data analysis, which is where you now use those clean data to interpret business problems, solve business problems, analyze business problems. Then you have data science, which is which involves in a lot of prediction. You predict, you do regression here, regression there. You try to predict and analyze the future. And then finally, you have data entry, which are the people that actually take this data from a non-readable or usable form and then put it into probably Excel or probably a script that you can now pull from and then clean and then work with. So each of the jobs that are out there require you to do one of these fields, definitely. Whether it's in the health sector, oil and gas, whether you're talking to government stakeholders or you're talking to, it requires you to do one either to clean data, either to fetch data for them, either to analyze. Most of them are sitting, I think 90% of the problems you are solving, that's the one that has to do with stakeholders and business managers and CEOs, is the data analysis aspect of it. Other ones are most likely hidden or used in advanced industry like tech industry. Talk about NASA, space, studying of the ocean, trying to travel out to Mars or whatever the hell Eddie Musk is trying to do and stuff like that. So those are the different roles in data. So that's where you now have the health analytics, BI analyst, financial analyst, all those ones. You from their name and their job description, you can determine what they're asking you and where it actually lands in any of the five. Say drive a how can drive a data analyst as a job interview? Sorry, is it how I don't really understand this question. If Nanya, if you can help me. Um, that's from Ayomide. Then you said John Baga said um, John Baga said, how can I understand more about analysis in oil and gas? Okay, now in oil and gas sector, there are different departments. There are the upstream, the downstream, the midstream. It depends on where you find yourself. Apart from that, it depends on the department you find yourself, and depends on what your job description is and what you want to do. Are you with me? So sometimes it can involve it can involve you basically keeping an eye on sales. I've not worked in the oil and gas, so I might not know the in depth. But what I know is, as your specification is, whether you're in downstream, upstream, or midstream, the level of job you have to do differs. Just make sure that you have a good source of receiving all the data that you want to analyze. Right. And someone asks, what is the overview of data analysis? Like we mentioned in the opening message, opening discussion, data analysis, the data fields encompasses every single thing that any business or any industry needs to know in order to improve. That's how we can say. Whatever you need to know in order to make more efficient decision can be described as data analysis. That's the overview of it. That's the summary of it. Regardless of what it is, what is broken down into. How to do a data analysis for job interview, right? I mean how to build or how to prepare for a job interview, data analysis job interview. If that's what you mean, you have to go through the the requirements for that particular job. Make sure you understand. One thing you have to understand is pick out the problem they are trying to solve. When you pick out the problem they are trying to solve, you will then begin to see how to solve it in two ways. Number one, how to solve it with the hardcore skills you have. Number two, how to now communicate your solution to the people interviewing you. Number three, I think remember let me add another number three. Number three, give them an example of how you have solved similar problems before. You understand what I'm saying? Give them an example, matrix, and everything. So that's how you can approach an interview, a job interview for a data analysis role. Find out the problem they're trying to solve. You will know the problem from the job description they gave you, and then build around how to solve that problem. Build around your experience. You can show how your experience solves that problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate, and thank you to everyone who stayed till this end. I know we wanted it to be like an hour, but yeah, if it was not exciting, we would not stay till this long. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking our time to join us, Mr. Gideon, and thank you to everyone who has stayed till the end. And these are the next steps, because I know that you want to. These are the next steps. You can join the analysis school community if you're yet to. An email was likely sent to you, or it was in the community. So it's either you are there or you're not. And if you're not, it means that there was a link. It means you joined us via the email, and it means that the link to join the community is there. So do well to join the community. And another session is going to come up, and the details are going to be shared via the community. So you should be there. And don't worry, it's not going to take this long next time. And you can invite other analysts to join the community as well, and visit our website to go through the different things we have there, the different services, and also to refer someone. And when you refer someone, you are going to get a referral bonus. And for our speaker, you should check out our speaker and follow our speaker on LinkedIn. Or you can also visit the his website, Gideon, www dot at Gideon and .com.ng. So you can do how to check him out on LinkedIn. And if you have further questions that are yet not attended to, do how to drop it in the community and it will be attended to. But yeah, we are going to be ending this section now. If you have a question, drop it in the community, ask questions, recommend someone, refer someone to join the community. And I'll see you same time in 2 weeks for another section. I look forward to seeing each and every one of us here. Have a lovely evening and bye.